Hi, everyone. I'm Kayla Williams, Devo CISO, and I'm joined by Chris Hamilton, SOC Executive Leader at DeepSeas. Today, we're going to dive into how security teams can determine which SOC model, in-house, hybrid, or fully outsourced, is right for their organization's unique security needs. So let's get into it by establishing the lay of the land. Many trends are changing the state of the SOC, right? We've got growing data volumes to too many tools, not enough headcount, AI, lots of things going on. Security teams just have a lot to choose from. So Chris, what are you seeing from DeepSeas customers? What are the top challenges in unique situations that they're trying to solve for?
Thank you, Kayla. Thanks for having me. Very pleased to be here. Thank you. So you nailed it, right? So you mentioned what are our usual headaches in the SOC. Volume and complexity are our worst enemies, but we're not alone. We can do many things in order to address those two items, and that is some of the things that we're going to share with you guys, with everyone. I think it's key that the security community is in sync, and we are together. We can share data because the bad guys are sharing data between them. So we should be doing the same. So I'm so happy for being here and sharing my thoughts about those items. Okay, so let me start. How do we manage volume and complexity, right? So alert fatigue is one of the main problems that we have in the SOC. It's not the only one, but it's one of the main problems. So there are many things that we can do, okay? First, we need to understand that we need to build a fault-tolerant organization. That means that the SOC is not just a group of people. The SOC is much more. The SOC is people, of course, with the right skills, but also tools and processes that we need to put in place, that we need to architect to make sure that we keep our clients safe. So it's just not people, it's just not tools, it's not just processes, it's a combination of those three factors. And the tools today are a key element, especially everything related to all the topics or all the capabilities that we have today related to automation, AI, machine learning. Those are key elements that will help us in order to address the complexity and address the volume of data that we're managing. We're going to go deeper into those items probably in the next questions, but that is one thing to have in consideration. We need to invest. We need to develop a good automation process and framework. The next item that I want to share with you guys are two, but very powerful key items. It's simplify as much as possible. That's a key element. You know, guys, we have many products, many security products, but also many IT products, network tools that we need to monitor. So it's key that we simplify as much as possible. Okay, we are tempted so many times to onboard every single log source to our platform, to our SOAR, SEM, or EDR product, and we need to be cautious about it. There is a cost for onboarding too many log sources. Okay, we need to make sure that we are adding data that adds value into the monitoring process, into our SOC process. So we need to be cautious about that situation. Simplifying, it's a key element. I'm not saying that we should lose visibility. We need to simplify our process, make sure that we add the right data in our products, in our systems, to keep the monitoring process and the SOC processes as healthy as possible. Okay. And the next item I want to share with you related to complexity and volume is how we converge. Okay, and this is a new item that it's gaining a lot of traction in the community. It's how we converge all these different data points into a single source where we can do threat hunting, where we can do analysis, UEBA analysis, or use cases into that data pool. How can we converge as much as possible into a single place all that data in order to enhance our SOC detection capabilities? Okay, A key element here is our SOAR platform, or the SOAR platform that it's going to be used. Okay, this orchestration tools where you can pull all the data and have a single place where you can monitor. That's a key factor in the SOC, because it will help you to simplify the model. It will help you to just be looking at one place in order to detect threats and take corrective actions. And that is a huge benefit for the SOC. Instead of switching to multiple screens and going to different products in order to find that vulnerability, that threat that we need to react to, having everything in a single place, that's a key factor in the SOC success and keeping our security standards.
Yeah, I think, well, two things, because you just said something else, but I did write down a point you made that really resonated with me. But that fatigue of switching screens, I think we're going to get to it a little bit later. That does add on to that alert fatigue. It's just switching, that context switching is quite a lot. So I think that's really important. But the one quote that you said, data that adds value, and how that ties in not only to the complexity, but the cost models, I think is really important. And that's where a SOC that has a close relationship to other functions within security, like GRC or risk management, I think is really important, because then you can prioritize based on business continuity, customer requirements, regulatory or legal requirements. I think that's a huge point that might be often misunderstood, is that your data needs to add value so you can reduce risk.
Definitely. And we need to have a close connection with our clients, right? So from a security perspective, right, and as a security professional, we need to have a conversation. This is not plug and play, guys. If anyone is trying to sell you a plug and play system, likely it's not how it works. It's not it's not how real life works. This is a two-way street. We need to have both teams, the security team on the client side and also the security vendor that are providing these security services. We need to talk to each other. We need to know exactly what are your expectations, what are your crown jewels, what are the things that you're caring about. Knowing as much of your environment as possible, of your daily operations, will allow us to be better in the monitoring process. So definitely we need to be in sync, we need to talk to each other, and that will enhance our capabilities in the SOC.
Yeah, you say plug and play. I say you can't set it and forget it, like a slow cooker.
Definitely.
Same thing, because your objectives are going to change. So I think that's great. But kind of looping back to something that you touched upon briefly, but it's definitely one of those hot topic issues, buzzwords of this year, probably the past 12 to 18 months, has been automation, AI. So, how does machine learning and automation play a critical role in addressing the volume and complexity that you were just mentioning before?
Yeah. So let me start with a quote, right? And it's something that really caught my attention when I heard it the first time. It's people are afraid, right? That, hey, I'm going to lose my job thanks to AI, thanks to automation. That's going to replace me. And luckily, I don't think that's what we're going to. I don't think that is what is going to happen. I think that our risk to be replaced is by another human being that have a better use, a better use of those processes of AI, of machine learning. That is probably who is going to replace us. So we need to get away from the mindset that these new processes, new products are here to add another complexity layer. No, these processes and tools and opportunities that we have today, we didn't have this 10 years ago, are here in order to help us be more effective, are here to help us on our daily activities and pain points. So we need to embrace it. We need to use them in the right way and include those new processes in our process and be a part of it. So I think that is a key element. We need to stop fighting this. We need to embrace it with cautious and with a process behind it.
Yeah.
But definitely we need to look at this unique opportunities that we have today. So let me give you a few items that I have in my mind related to how we can embrace this, right? So we're living in a unique time where these tools are now available, and also available with a reduced learning curve. In the past, it was extremely complex to use some of these automation AI tools, machine learning tools. I'm putting all of them in the same category. We know they're not the same, okay? But let me use it as a single phrase or a single item. So I think that these tools, these processes are here in order to enhance our threat detection process and to help the SOC be more effective. Okay. Yeah. We all know that we need to have good detection rules. We need to have good use cases in order to detect these threats. With AI, we can take one step further and we can start looking at other things that in the past we were not able to look at, or were extremely complex. Thanks to AI machine learning, we can create this anomaly detection framework where we can see entities, resources, users that usually don't behave in that way, and it's suspicious, and now they are acting like that or are taking those actions. So that should definitely generate an alert. By use of these tools, we can analyze vast amount of data in a very short time frame and allow our analysts in order to get the data in a format that is easy to understand, and we can do our security assessment. So these tools allow us now to find those hidden threats, those unknowns that in the past was extremely hard to find them. So that is a key element. Now we have an enhanced SOC thanks to these new capabilities. So again, embrace it. Don't fight it against it. Everyone will be using this in the future. And right now, everyone is shifting to this new process. So this is a good thing. Okay, we need to be able to adapt to this change.
I think
that is one key element. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, no, I think it's important. You said it's not one or the other when it's people or AI, it's both. The AI Correct. Is helping to augment the teams. And to your point before, it's not plug and play. You don't set and forget it. Same goes for AI. You have to have eyes on it, and someone needs to be responsible and accountable for what those AI models are doing. So I think, you've hit the nail on the head with that one for sure. It's definitely a tool that we're going to be using, and the stress there is tool.
Right. It's another tool. It's another tool. It's not going to replace our processes. It's going to enhance our process. It's going to allow us to do things that we were not able to do in the past.
Yep.
And now it's there for us. Not only on the detection side, as I explained before, but also on the reduction of false positive. So the volume is a big problem. Okay, what can we do in order to reduce the amount of noise that we are getting into our analysts? So the out of disposition process, where we can have a machine learning process that can react to those alerts, send those notifications if needed, and let the other complex analysis for an analyst. That is it's an extremely powerful item in the SOC, because we can reduce the alert fatigue. We can split the process and have an automated process for some specific alert types, and then we can have a human being process augmented by automation and machine learning that can handle the other piece. So that is also a very powerful item to have in consideration. And the last one that I would mention, it's about incident response. So the way I think about it is we're going to have an incident. Okay, it's just a matter of time and how deep that incident will be. So we need to get away from this mindset that, okay, it's impossible that something bad happens. We are in this technology area that it's likely going to happen. We have a lot of operations in the cloud. We have a lot of operations that have an IT component, and we need to prepare. We need to prepare for when an incident occurs. What are we going to do? How we're going to address it? And also preparation for during the incident, but also preparation before the incident occurs, how we can improve our processes to mitigate the impact. Okay, if this happens, now it's not a deal breaker. It's something that we can, as a company, manage and we can recover and we can move forward. Okay, lessons learned, and we will have a better process in the future. So we need to get away from this zero tolerance for failure mentality. We are in the SOC, we are in security, we are the firefighters. When we get called, it's never for a good thing. It's always because there is something going on, and that's fine. We need to be able to accept that. Regarding incident response automation, having an automated process when an incident occurs or a threat is a true positive situation, that's key. If we can quarantine, if we can take action on a host, on a resource, automatically in seconds, when something bad happens, that mitigates and might stop the threat right there. So using machine learning and automation in order to automate our incident response process, when we find these type of behaviors, then act immediately on the host or act immediately on that resource from our client, it's a key element to stop the bleeding. So that's another good factor of automation.
I couldn't agree more with you with that. And I think, now is a really good time to kind of pause and say thank you, right, to all of the incident response managers and SOC analysts. I'm sure you have a wonderful team that you would like to shout out right now.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So everything that I mentioned, I mean, as I said, it's not plug and play. These are real human beings, security professionals that are working many, many hours, and they have spent a lot of hours training, upskilling, and so I want definitely to thank all my SOC team, all my security professionals that we have in DeepSeas. And let me extend that to every company that is going through this, right? We're not the only ones. We know the pain. We know how hard this job is. Doing this right, it's not easy. A lot of things needs to happen. A lot of processes needs to be aligned to make this work. And at the end of the day, it's a security professional using these tools, using these capabilities in order to make a decision and keep our clients safe. So the security professional is always going to be there, and I want to use this opportunity to thank my team and thank all the good guys that we have out there, keeping their clients and keeping their company safe.
Yes, we appreciate all of you. So I just wanted to. I thought that was like the perfect time to do it. So
thank you.
Yeah, no,
thank
thank you, and thank everyone out there. And kind of going back to what you were saying before. Based on all these tools and this technology and the process enhancements we're seeing, how can security leaders determine if they should add internal headcount to build out their in-house security team? Should they look to outsource their operation? Should they go a hybrid route? Is there kind of like a pro and con approach to these? What are you thinking for that?
Yeah. So let me answer that question in a minute. Let me provide a statement first, or something to think about. Okay, as I said before, having a SOC in place and defining this process that will go through the entire life cycle of a threat, from the moment that it's an event, just an event, to the moment that we declare an incident, it's not an easy process. It's not. Some of the things that we need to have in consideration, just mentioning a few so we can have a high-level picture where we are, is you need to ingest data properly. You need to parse that data so our security products can understand that. You need to have great detection rules, use cases. You need to have UEBA in order to detect anomalies. You need to have a solid notification process, a solid investigation process enhanced by the tools that we just mentioned. Then we need to have a right notification process, and if needed, a right response action. So what are we going to do once we notify our clients? Are we going to take action? How are we going to do that? We want to prevent also a disruption on the client infrastructure. So we need to be cautious about what action we implement, what response action. And of course, if there is an incident, all that data will be used in order to know, to do a forensic and a deep dive analysis where the threat is coming from. So all these elements are not easy to establish. Needs time, need investment, need a lot of smart people, building this custom process for the client needs. So the question that we need to ask ourselves as decision makers in the security environment is, as a CISO, do you, and not being IT or security your core business, you do other things, okay? Your revenue is coming from other sources, not from security. So security is an investment for you. Would it make sense to build all this process from scratch and implement this, mature this process and make sure that you can maintain this? Mm-hmm. Or it's better to use a company that has been developing this for a long time. They have an established process. You can customize the process in order to meet your requirements. But there are a lot of things that you're not going to need to take care, right? And there are going to be things that you're going to delegate in the security professionals. Many of these part of the process. But as I said before, and you said, I think we both agree on that, this is not plug and play. It's not like we sign a contract and we will look each other faces when we have to renew the contract. That's not the approach. The approach is we are a single team. We are 24/7 eyes on glass, making sure that nothing is missed. And on your side, we need your security team to be able to receive our notifications, our responses, our doubts, and agree into a process that how we're going to notify and how we're going to escalate things in case that we need to. So it's not plug and play. It's a joint effort. We can do the heavy lifting. Your MSSP, your security provider can do the heavy lifting. You don't need to build everything from scratch, but you need to have a security team that can react and can jump in case that we have an incident or in case there is something going on that we have detected. So it's a joint effort between both teams. My recommendation is, if you can't invest time and money on building that process, you can definitely use a partner that already went through that maturity process and already have established those steps, and use them as your security partner. So that would be my recommendation. There are, of course, some exceptions here, but that would be something to consider.
Yeah, among Devo's customer base, we've seen SOC models that run the gamut from highly mature and customized SOCs to smaller SOCs where, the customer doesn't have the headcount to hire all the expertise needed to do all those things that you just mentioned, right? Do it effectively, to invest the time and those resources. So, let's talk a little bit about the money side here from a budget perspective. What's more cost effective? To me, like my opinion, it seems like if you're a small organization, it's probably more resource and cost effective to do a hybrid model or to outsource to a managed service provider, just because we're not just talking headcount to set things up, but the processes that need to be running 24/7. That's a lot of investment. But do you have a different opinion on that?
No, I do agree with you. I actually I'm a little bit actually about that. I mean, I think it's not even doable to do it right. I mean, it's not like just expensive and extremely difficult. Sometimes it's not even doable because the time frames and the time that will take you to build this process, it might not fit your security product. You might not be able to spend that time investing on this maturity security framework and keeping up with the ongoing threats. I mean, this is not an unstable environment. Every week, actually every day, we have people looking at different security sources, finding out threats that are not common, finding out vulnerabilities that have not been broadly shared in order to create the right detection framework. So it's not plug and play. It will require dedicated time on daily basis to maintain this, and it will be extremely tough. I'm not saying it's not doable. Of course, it is doable, but it will be very, very difficult to implement this process in an efficient way. Okay, especially if you are not a security company or if you're not, IT is not the core of your business. Okay.
Yeah, I think, from everything we've talked about, AI and SOAR and that whole big volume of data, just there's so many things. And to your point earlier on the false positives issue, and, is that really a risk to my company right now? Those things, everyday business leaders may not have the skill set to even hire the professionals that know how to look for those things. And as we all know, security can come at a very hefty price when it comes to professionals. So, I think you're spot on there with that. I am a big fan of the hybrid model, or just the outsourcing for small companies. It just makes better business sense to reach your corporate objectives that way. So, we're kind of winding down a bit here. Is there anything, that we haven't touched upon today that you think is important for our audience to know about when it comes to outsourcing a security operations center?
I think that we covered the big items. I would recommend that or let me summarize some of the things that we've been discussing, right? So we can be very precise. We talk about a lot of things. Some of the things are a little bit complex, easy to get lost. But the big things that the audience that might take away, right, is that, again, SOC is not just tools, it's not just people, it's not just process, it's a combination of the three, right? And in order to have an efficient SOC process and framework, security framework, we need to invest. It's going to take time, it's going to take money, it's going to be hard to perform by a company that this is not a core business. So leaning on and leveraging security companies that may be able to speed up the process, I think it's a great approach, the hybrid mode. We need to make sure that this mindset that security threats will occur, we're going to have an incident. It's a matter of how deep it's going to be, how well prepared we're going to be, and when it's going to happen. So don't be afraid of doing this analysis, going through this roadmap. It's much better to do it before an incident occurs than while you need to perform recovery actions because you are already in an incident. So let's get away from that mentality. This is going to happen. We just need to be fully prepared, as much prepared as we can. And don't fight the change. AI, machine learning, automation, all those beautiful tools are coming to help us. They're our ally if they're used properly. So embrace it. Don't fight it, because the bad actors are also moving into that direction. So we need to be able to absorb that and embrace that change, okay? In a smart way. We're not going to do it in a crazy way. We need to do it in a smart way. Yeah. And finally, we said it many times, security is not plug and play. Let's get away from that mentality. I know it's a little bit painful, but the more relationship you have between your client needs and your security professional team, that's when you see great outcomes. So no plug and play. We need to fight together and have a single approach against bad actors. That would be my highlights for the conversation.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree, especially the last point, the plug and play, the set it and forget it mentality. Insert any other, phrase that's out there. It's so important. People are always needed to manage the processes and the tools and the technology. AI is not coming to take our jobs. It's going to augment them and help focus us on the people on more important and riskier things. So, thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate your time today, and thank you to DeepSeas as well for this sponsoring this event and this discussion. So thank you very much, everybody, and enjoy the rest of the program.
Thank you. Bye, guys. See you on the trenches. Bye.